5 of them, standing around going, and just looking at him. And I run in and I'm like, guys, what just happened? And they're like, well, Nathan slammed his finger in the door. He's bleeding. And I look at his finger and they're all black and bloody all over the place. And I'm like, well, are you guys going to do anything? Put something on it? And they're like, yeah, that's a good idea. So, needless to say, I got an ice pack and some medication, and I bandaged them all up and got that all taken care of. And I went back upstairs and I sat down on my bed and I was like, why didn't they do anything? Like, what would make them stare at this person who's screaming bloody murder with his fingers half chopped off and just be like, oh, somebody else. One of the kids in this room, he was like a Boy Scout. I mean, he's taking first aid, he's into wilderness survival and preparedness. I was like, he should have been able to take care of it. One of the girls in the room was like a mini mother. She should have been able to take care of it. I was like, why did they not do anything? And then in class a couple weeks later, I learned what had caused them not to respond to that. And it's this effect called it's this phenomenon called the bystander effect. This phenomenon was first observed in 1964 when a woman was killed in front of her neighbors. 3 people personally witnessed the killing, and 12 to 36 other people could hear her or could hear cries for help or were related to the incident in some way. And the incident took place over about 30 minutes to an hour, and nobody did anything. And so they started researching this, and they were like, what would make people just not be willing to help this poor lady? And they came across what they call now the bystander effect. And what the bystander effect is it consists of 2 main parts. And that is distribution of responsibility and social pressure. And to sum up both of those, distribution of responsibility, I'll give you just a brief example. If you arrive at an accident and 10 people are there, and they're trying to help out the accident, the human mind subconsciously determines that since there's 10 people, they each have a 10% responsibility, you could say, over helping that person. So the bigger the crowd gets, or the more people, the more responsibility is distributed. And that causes the human mind to think, well, there's 9 other people besides me, and I only have a 10% responsibility, so I think one of them will do it. I think one of them should do it. And that's how the human mind thinks. And that can be very dangerous. The second effect, the second part of the bystander effect is social pressure. And that is, again, psychologically, the human mind says, oh, look at these other people, they're not doing anything. I don't want to look like the weirdo out of the crowd who knows what he's doing, so I'm just going to sit here and look like them and be socially correct. So that is what the bystander effect is. And I have really strong feelings on this because I have some really good friend, and he's a police officer, and he talks about seeing this at like accident scenes, and he says he's come upon people where people have been dying in a burning car, and he's like, people are standing around watching. And he's like, why didn't you guys do anything? And they're like, well, we were waiting for medical, emergency personnel. And the bystander effect is what is causing this, and I think it's a big thing, and it's a big problem in America, because we have it's going on all around us. And it's not even in big cases like that. Even I went hiking in Zion this week, and we would ride the bus, and some people, like my parents raised me up, the other lady comes on, and I'll offer her my seat, but some people it's like, oh, fuck down, you guys go fend for yourselves. And I was like, that is a bystander effect on a smaller scale. They don't want, there's a distribution of responsibility. There's 40 other people on the bus, one of them can do something about it. And they don't want the social pressure, well, I gotta stand up and I gotta look different. So, I feel like this, like I said, I feel like this is a really big problem in America, and we need to overcome it. So, there's 3 things that we can do to overcome this. Number 1, you have to have a desire. You have to have a desire to break free of this bystander effect. It is built into human nature. I have a very strong desire to break free of that, and I usually do, not all the time. But I really want to. I'm working on improving my knowledge to fix things once we do so. I think this is really important. I would rather, if you're going to break out of this zone, if you have this bystander effect and do something, please be educated. If you want to be able to help people with accidents, no first aid. Don't go out there and be like, oh, let's slap a band-aid on. You need to be educated. There's no point in breaking out if you don't have the education to sustain that. All you're going to do is make things worse. The third part of how we can overcome this is have the conviction to step out. And that can come from many different places. It can come from the personal belief system. Mine comes from God. God tells us to help our neighbors. He tells us to make the world a better place for everyone. And my faith in him gives me something to break out. A great example of this that I really love is Corrie ten Boom. Corrie ten Boom was a lady in World War II when the Nazis invaded. It was either Finland or one of those countries over there, but they invaded and they started tracking down on the Jews and stuff. And she was one of the people who stood up and was able to either transport Jews out of the city or house them in her house or something. And she had all of these qualities. Number one, she had a desire to fix the problem, fix this. She had a desire to step out of the bystander effect of just look away and everything will just be okay. She had a desire to step out of that and help people and make a change. She had the knowledge to do that. She had friends in higher up places who could get her food and who knew where the Jews could go stay. She had a place for them to stay at her house. She had the foresight and the knowledge to actually accomplish what she was trying to do by breaking up this bystander effect. And third, she had the conviction that was given to her by God. She said it all the time. She's like, God was my guiding force in this, and I trusted him completely throughout the whole thing. Just to close, I just look at America nowadays and I go, we have such a big bystander effect, and there's so many factors contributing. It's not just the two things that they say what it is. We have video games, and we have busy schedules. We have all this stuff that gets in the way of us breaking out and being able to help other people. But that really is the core of what we should be doing here on this earth, is helping other people. And I know it goes against all human nature and basically all reason that your brain is wired to comprehend. But that's something that we need to get over, and that we need to grow and progress past. I really like this quote by George S. Patton. I'm just quoting this. You should stand up. I just love this quote. It says, "If everyone is thinking alike, then somebody isn't thinking." And that is so what I'm trying to talk about. The bystander effect is trying to be basically people thinking alike, and you need to break out of that. If you're all thinking alike, then someone is not thinking, and it's probably you. So you need to break out of it. Just to finish, I have another quote by George Patton. But he says, "Accept the challenges so you can feel the exhilaration of victory." And that's what this is all about. It's about standing up and making a point and being able to break out of that. And if you can come to the realization that you can